Welcome to Psychic TV International Thursday night. Our guest of honor just jumped on right at the last minute, so she's lucky we didn't have to make a phone call now. Love and light. It's great to see. I'm so excited to speak to you all tonight. This is Psychic TV. Don't be scared unless you want to be. It's a bit of a trick-or-treat theme tonight. We are talking all things Halloween. I thought I'll dress up for the occasion, but I'm pretty scary as it is these days according to my review, so I thought I'll just come as myself. I think that would be a great costume for everyone. But we are going to talk about the history of Halloween tonight, the origins, the spiritual meanings, the little traditions, trick-or-treating, why we wear masks, all things. I'm excited to see what Terri, our guest tonight, has to say, or what her understanding or knowledge is of Halloween. I've got some notes that I've Googled, I'm not going to lie, along with my own couple of little traditions that I have or also understand in regards to, like the, apples being a form of protection and the brooms. And I think if you hang a broom in your house or whatever, if the broom's up way, you're inviting guests. If it's down, you're not inviting guests or something. But there's a whole different type of meanings that I've got. So I'd love to hear yours as well. I'd love to hear what, even if you don't celebrate Halloween as the American commercialized version, but if you are a spiritual and maybe celebrate it on some form of spiritual level, I would love to know what your traditions are or values are or anything along that line as well. That's okay. So say hello. So I don't even know if anyone's watching. Maybe you got so scared and already that you've ran away. So hopefully you do come back. Beth, good to see you. I thought someone has to be watching, surely. Do like and share this page if you possibly can. We do want to reach as many people as we can for tonight. It's going to be a fun-filled, bit of a difference. Rather than sort of going down our typical sort of spirituality path, which we're still doing on some level, this is more themed around Halloween, which is tomorrow. Now, and I'll ask Terri this as well, but I have been calling today All Hallows Eve, but apparently, because I thought it's the eve of Halloween, but apparently, according to, again, Google, All Hallows Eve is what you call Halloween. So I'd love to sort of talk, because I've been saying, oh yeah, it's All Hallows Eve. And people are like, well, no, that's tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, but this is the eve of Halloween. So I've been calling it All Hallows Eve, and apparently, it's not. Anyway, but thank you for watching. Do and share this page. We do want to reach, more than a handful of people tonight. We want to try and, reach as many people as we can and join in on the conversations, because I'd love to get your thoughts on all things Halloween. Of course, you can always go to Psychic TV International, psychictvaustralia.com and get a reading with one of our psychics who are currently online. And we've got the Amazing Grace on pin 9888, Benjamin on 9166, Blessed Beth, who's always in the thread. Great to have you joining us live at 9150. She's also available to take your call. Judith Sky on pin 9125, Mystical L on 9151, and Nally Norm Baker available on 9810. Of course, the fun and fear is all here tonight. I'm just going to bring our guest on and have a chat, because that's what we do best. So please welcome to the stage the delightful Terri.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, long time no see.
Yeah, it's been ages.
I know, it's been ages.
I'm wearing my Black Cat cult t-shirt tonight.
I was wondering if the Jenny bottle might have changed to something spooky.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
That's okay.
Didn't think of that.
So let's just jump straight into it, because I think by now people probably know a bit about who you are, and we've had a few conversations about us and things like that.
Yeah.
So let's jump straight into the first question I suppose I'm going to ask you is, do you celebrate Halloween, and how so?
No, and never. I'm again the whole commercialization of it. And, the having to buy all these things, and, there's no real trick or treat. They're just walking to houses and getting lollies, and, it's not for me. I don't, but I'm not a Christmas lover either. I don't like the big sort of,
I don't know. This is where we end the chat now. I've already got my Christmas decorations. My Christmas tree goes up tomorrow.
Yep. All those big
Judge
ones.
away.
Yeah, I don't love them. I love everything behind Halloween and its essence. I just
So do you celebrate anything spiritual, or what do you celebrate, anything, or is it just another day for you?
Yeah, it's just another day. It's one I try to avoid because of all the commercialization. But
are you like me, turn the lights off and make sure that no one knocks on the door? Because we already had today. I've already had lovely children, knock on my door today. I'm like, not only are you a day early, but no.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
have candy, but that's for me.
I'm lucky that I live in a townhouse and we have a gate at the front and you can't get in unless someone lets you in. So we'll all of us will be laying pretty low tonight, I think.
And tomorrow, yeah.
It has become ridiculously popular in Balmain here where I live.
Oh, has
Yeah,
it? I think it's an Australian thing. I think it's not just location now these days. I like building up to it. I did notice in the past, like certain suburbs will get into it and then
yeah,
certain suburbs wouldn't. But I've just noticed now every suburb, or at least here in Melbourne, every suburb will have houses that will celebrate it now. It's not hit and miss suburb wise. It's every suburb celebrates it. Not everyone in a suburb does,
yeah.
but it's like it's grown, and I've noticed it since COVID. It's really grown.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I guess when we're starting to talk about the history of it and all of the stuff that's involved with it, there's a lot of it that links in with my favorite subject, which is the history of spirituality. In the time frames of the acceleration of its celebration in modern times were all around the same times as the acceleration in the belief of spiritualism. So around the sort of 1920s again, after the First World War. So that's when it really started to get big in the US.
And like I said, I've got some notes that I've kind of brought up that I will discuss because I think they're quite interesting. So, because I know it dates back, we're talking like even in the 1800s with the history there. I would like to know, like, how far back does your understanding of it goes with Halloween and its like history?
Well, not Halloween as such, in its guises as different festivals, be it Christian or pagan. It's been going on for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So,
and where do you think it? Because obviously, I would love to, if we can, and I'm sure we will be able to tonight, if we can connect the modern day traditions of candy, wearing masks, costumes, and things like that.
Yep.
Like, that's how it's modernized it. So let's go back to, where did that start, and why do you think, like, where did the modern day traditions, they obviously had to come from somewhere. So where do you think that started, and why do you think we did that?
Well, it's just as I was saying, the whole sort of system of it, where it was, for a particular group of people, it just started becoming popular, and then it spread in, I guess, communities where they were, because the same sort of festival was held by the Christians.
Yeah.
It was sort of around the 1800s is my sort of belief.
And that's, and it's interesting because the Christian part of it, which I actually surprised me in doing my research, how much of that actually came up. But it does come up a lot about that the Christian stuff is more November 1st, which is All Saints Day.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So, but there's also, in the modern sort of version of it, they've also pulled into it the beliefs of the Native Americans, and they had similar festivals around the same time, for the crops and for all that, which is how it started.
The harvest, exactly.
Yeah. So,
and then you've got, and then there's the Scottish traditions as well that we Australian have tend to pick up a lot more of. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but the Scottish traditions of I can never say the word, and I'm thank you. So in. Mind readers.
Yeah, I know.
And that's sort of like, when I was doing a research, we as an Australian, well, individually opinionated there, but like Australian has tend to kind of pick up the more Scottish traditions historically, as opposed to what the Americans, which is kind of a bit different as well. Yeah. Like, there's so many different, what I loved about it is there's so many different cultures and celebrations and beliefs around just this one day. And it's kind of, you kind of almost can't really pick it in a way, but you can also see how it's all connected to. It all kind of heads in the same.
But see, weirdly, with the Christian, their celebration on the 1st of November, with the Celts, and we're talking about thousands of years ago, and then Celts were spread from Ireland, UK, Scotland, obviously, and France, and they all celebrated their new year on the 1st of November. So
Oh.
the whole thing about Halloween was to celebrate the end of the summer and the harvest and the beginning of the dark. We've skipped back here to where it was then and not where it is now, but it skips back. Oh, sorry, it skips back. It's all there because the winter was coming. They've just celebrated the harvest and the summer, and winter was coming. And traditionally, and we're talking a couple of thousand years ago, the winter was the time predominantly when people died, of cold or hunger or whatever. So that is why it's seen as such a spiritual thing, even thousands of years ago, because of the connection to death.
So death. So now let's talk about thinning of the veil. So do you want to explain a bit about what that is?
Well, it's interesting because it's kind of a liminal time. So it's like it's just a sort of bubble around the 2 days. And it was seen that was because of the association with death. It was seen that the line between the living and dead was blurred there. And they believed then that the ghosts returned to Earth, the ghosts of the dead returned to Earth. And so it's, I guess, the point at where the boundaries separating the spiritual world and the real world were reduced. And that's why it's been associated with other sorts of things like the appearance of spirits, fairies, ghosts, and that's where it links into spirituality again. All of the same things, then they're all pulled together.
So why, I know you kind of touched on this, so why do you think it's October 31 especially that the thinning of the veil was decided that this is the night, because it's not like it's really, we've still got another month before it comes into winter or now term summer. So we're not quite heading, it's still not quite winter. So why do you think October 31 is like spirits decided, okay, we're just going to come back and resurrect. Like this is the day for it. They just worked on their time frame or?
For a couple of reasons that we've already sort of just glanced on. And one is that in the old calendar, November 1 was the new year.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the new year. But it also coincides of when, I don't know even if they had 4 seasons back then. It may just have
Probably
been.
Not, yeah.
Yeah, 2. And so, the end, and they were probably not really likely to be calculating it initially on an exact day.
Good point, yeah.
Yeah, but this is the point at where, okay, well, all the good stuff's over and now the bad stuff's going to begin. The winter's going to begin. So it's those 2 things, I guess, overlapped with each other.
And what, I don't know how much you sort of follow or focus in, because I know you don't celebrate Halloween as the commercialized, and even spiritually you sort of said there's not much you really do anyway. But with the thinning of the veil, for those that maybe are a bit concerned, not that you really need to be, but what are some things that maybe we can do to sort of, obviously add that extra layer of protection on for the next maybe 48 hours?
Well, I don't know if it's all about protection. Sometimes it may be wanting to open yourself up to the thinness of the veil and see, what can come to you. So it's a time
surprise.
To explore. Yeah, surprise. Grandpa's here. Yeah, but it could be anything really, anything that you wanted to make of it. I guess the important thing is that even though it's not set for our I guess antipodal buddy, way we live upside down to everyone else, but it's more about the time frame, I guess, on a worldwide level now, because we're also connected, being the same one that marries all of those things, all of those spiritualities together all around the world.
Yeah. And coming together, I know it is fascinating. It's like, even when you sort of do your research and stuff, like I'll just quickly read out, this is on courtesy of Google. So I'm just going to read just what I've sort of been doing research here. And what's that word again? Saham?
Sawin.
Sawin.
As in
Samhain.
so, S-O-W, and in, I-N. So
Oh,
in.
Samhain. Okay, cool. So Halloween originated from the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, which marked the end of summer and the harvest, as we've spoken about in the beginning of winter. It was believed that the barrier between the worlds of the living and the dead blurred, allowing spirits to roam the earth. Over time, the Christian Church incorporated this festival as All Saints' Day,
Yeah.
marking the night before All Hallows' Eve, which was later shortened to Halloween. Many
Yes.
modern traditions, like carving jack-o'-lanterns and costume wearing, have roots in these ancient celebrations.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is sort of what I kind of wanted to get to as well, because why do we dress up?
Well, they dressed up. They often wore masks and all kinds of disguises to avoid being recognised from any of those goats who were thought to be present. Goats.
Goats?
Sorry. Ghosts who were thought to be present at that time. So they feared the
Interesting.
spirits, which is
Yeah, so
why,
they just disguise. Right,
they
yeah.
celebrate them. So the practice is actually called guising. And so that
Ah,
still
yes. I
echoes
haven't heard that in
today.
a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the costumes that we wear. So it was to blend in or disguise yourself from the supernatural visitors.
I think I still do that from the living. These days.
Same here. But from there, it went on from there, and guising eventually sort of evolved into souling, and that was the real
Oh.
precursor to trick or treating. So, and what would happen is that poor people, especially kids, would go door to door on the night of October 1 and offer to pray for the souls of people's loved ones in exchange for money or food.
Oh, at the start of October.
Yeah, no, on October 31. And
Okay.
that was where souling started. And then with a couple of 100 years, costume visitors are everywhere, hoping to perform a little trick or just get a bag of lollies.
Oh, just get your tits out. Did I say that?
Well, I don't think we'll have to worry about it too much tonight. Where is everyone?
I was about to say, Beth, are you the only one watching tonight? They're all out
No,
trick or treating.
we got a hello from Deb.
Oh, Deb's there. And I think, is it just Beth and Deb?
Looks like
Yep,
it.
looks like it. Beth and Deb, good to see you there. Everyone else is out trick or treating tonight. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's interesting about I with the dressing up and being disguised from the dead as a form of protection. What I also learned and what I also kind of follow with the Halloween kind of traditions is also the Wiccan values and the Wiccan
Yes.
kind of sense, because that's a
Yeah.
whole other ball game as well.
Yeah.
And why witches are quite prominent and whatnot for Halloween. And one of the things I read, which I don't know how much truth there is to it, but apparently witches would also wear masks and disguises so they could mingle with like everyday people, because back then you would be hung if you were known as a witch. So in
Yes.
order for them to kind of get, one of the stories I actually read is for witches to get close to their they use the word victim. So I think if they wanted to curse someone or actually, do a spell on someone, they would actually disguise themselves to get closer to that person if they, needed to sort of whatever do something. But they also spoke about just witches being able to walk freely with the everyday commoners by wearing those disguises, so they could actually walk free in one night of celebration, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Which I thought that was quite interesting. And then there's a lot of, like, you could link it on. So obviously, like, the broom, the witch's broom, which is obviously quite a popular costume, decor, whatever, for Halloween as well. Like, that's obviously used a lot. The sweeping of the broom is used to, I think, like, a form of protection, but also to sweep away, like, negativity and things like that.
Yep. Sweep
But
out
also,
the bad stuff and sweep in the good
yeah.
stuff.
And it's the same as hanging the broom. So if you've got, I mean, I don't know how many people hang brooms in their houses these days, but apparently, it was a thing. If you were to hang your broom in like a room or in your house, depending on which way the broom was facing, would attract or pull out negative energy.
No,
So
I hadn't heard that bit. I hadn't learned that
if
bit.
if the broom's facing up, you're attracting energy to come in, which I assume is positive. And if it's down, you're blocking people from entering.
Yeah, I guess like a bit of a feng shui thing.
Yeah, I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, Eva's there. Good morning from the US.
Hi, Eva.
from Georgia. Anyone else that is, if anyone is actually watching, do you have any celebrations? Do you have any traditions, any values, anything that you want to add to the conversation? Please do definitely put it in the comments
especially from Eva. She's in the US. We'd love to hear more about what a US person or someone who lives there thinks about it. As opposed to how it is here.
It's funny how we've really picked up, and obviously, we picked up the more modernized, any excuse to kind of dress up and ask strangers for candy. It's quite interesting that, we've kind of, it's, as you said, like just seeing it grow.
You know where the whole candy or lollies thing came from? It was following World War II. Sorry, excuse me for a sec. I've got a bit of hay fever, and so I'm getting
getting all the symptoms.
The whole blah. After World War II, when sugar rationing came to an end, it helped really cement the whole sweet side of it. And in the early 50s, trick-or-treating really gained popularity thanks to that, and to, weirdly, a couple of cartoon characters.
Who are the cartoon characters?
The first one is a comic strip with Peanuts, and Charlie Brown used the phrase trick or treats, and that's one of the first known uses of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the following year, that was, I think, in 1951, and in the following year, Disney released a short film starring Donald Duck, and that was called Trick or Treat. So following those, the candy makers all jumped in, hoping to increase their sales of the sugary confections, and it soon replaced all homemade offerings, or all of those things more I guess accustomed or connected with the pagan rituals. So
which is the bobbing of the apples and things like that. Yeah.
Well, the bobbing of apples thing was interesting too. I found a bit on that I didn't know. Let me just find it here. I've got a couple of notes myself as well. Blah, blah, blah. You talk about something else, and I'll come back to the apples when I see it.
So I know the apples are a tradition offering. I can't remember what else they were, but it was obviously before the candy became commercialized and became even, a thing, because there wasn't really candy when we're talking right down at the beginnings of this, not like how we know it as anyway. So they did offer like apples, I think like Brussels sprouts or things like that, like more like veggies, cabbages,
Did
stuff
you know
like
that the first pumpkin wasn't a pumpkin? The first jack-o'-lantern wasn't a pumpkin. It was actually a turnip. It was a turnip.
Oh, okay, a turnip. So I wanted to talk about the pumpkin thing as well. Like, where did that all come from? Like, there's so much to break down there, but obviously you've got your notes up there.
Yeah. I've got a bit about that, because there was a miser named Jack, and that's who's the jack-o'-lantern, and they did that to sort of to tease him, and they knew that they were never going to get any money or any treats out of him, so that's when the whole trick thing started as well.
Right. Okay. So was it they tried to trick him into giving treats or to get what they want?
Yeah. It was because he was such a tight ass, they they weren't getting any treats from him, so they decided, the tricks, and that's where that part of it started becoming.
I love how back then they were just like, oh yeah, we're just doing this for whatever reason, and then little did they know that it's like now this whole. It's funny how like a real base. It's like us now. Like we could be having a conversation one day in our lives, think nothing of it, and somehow one day it becomes a worldwide celebrated tradition.
Yeah. What I found really interesting too was that in the stuff that I was reading, that it's spreading quite heavily to the Asian countries as well, who have none of those sort of rituals or anything at all. So it's
I think they don't really even celebrate Christmas, do they?
Yeah, they do, weirdly, because I guess it's for the same sort of reasons that it's so prominent now. I mean, they have their own celebrations, but I've been over to South Korea a couple of times at Christmas time, and it's Christmas everywhere. More
Oh,
so,
okay.
I guess, with the people that are of Western origin or have lived in Western countries, but they still do it.
Yeah, it's really. I don't even think about like because now that we've kind of really consumed the idea of Halloween, you just kind of think, oh, it's everywhere now, but you forget that it's still not. Like it's really still only celebrated in some. Well, I mean, now it's probably most countries, but
Yeah.
it's there's still probably definitely countries out there that probably don't at all celebrate it.
No, yeah, yes, I imagine there is, but I think that it's because we're so globally connected now, and anyone that sees anything like this and it looks like a bit of fun, well, they probably want in on it as well. Everyone likes a little bit of fun, a little bit of crazy. Do you know? I found this fact when I was researching that that more and more people are buying costumes for their pets. So
Oh yes, I saw that. I'm guilty.
Americans spent $700 million on costumes in 2023 for their dogs, and that was 3 times what they
Oh.
did in 2010. So things are sort of changing still.
Can I? Well, let me see if this will let me. Possibly, yeah. Keep chatting. Yeah, no, it's so true. I'm actually. I have a picture of my dog in a Halloween costume. I'm just trying to pull it up now. Um, just, I'm just trying to find it to see if it's actually saved in my folder here. But yeah, it's true. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm guilty enough of dressing up my pet as a result. So I'm guilty of that definitely. Uh, yeah, it's funny how we just really get into these sort of things. I'm trying to multitask here. Can you tell? Um, yeah, so the pumpkin, because I think I read too, the pumpkin is also used as a form of protection, or it's to help you like to be used in some form of protection as well. I don't know how much truth there is behind that, but you put the pumpkin at the front to. It'll come down to obviously the thinning of the veil and all of that kind of stuff in regards to you know trying to wear off the dead. But yeah, I read that you put the pumpkin at the front to kind of help with the evil. I don't know how much truth there is to that. I think too, though, like with anything, especially coming down to spirituality, it's like I found it. Sorry,
Good.
let me.
Well, I can tell you about apple bobbing and apples.
Yeah.
Some of the tokens that they used to use back in the day.
There we go.
Where is he? Oh, very cute. What is he a spider?
He's just a spider. He wasn't too happy about it.
No, I don't imagine he would be, but it's very cute.
Yes, the apple bobbing. Where did that come from?
Well, they used to use, I guess, it was also a time, really, I guess, for fortune tellers too, and all of the mystic things that went with that, and what they recommended, and it was a time for matchmaking as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it's all quite bizarre, but fortune tellers would tell the young ladies that to name a hazelnut for each of their suitors and toss the nuts into the fireplace. That's a bit of a metaphor for what's going to happen later in life, isn't it?
Some things don't change, Terri.
But they thought that the nut that burned to ashes rather than popping or exploding represented the girl's future husband. So, in some tales, the opposite was true. But there are other things like young women used to toss the apple peels over their shoulders, hoping that peels would fall on the floor in the shape of their husband's initials, trying to learn about their futures.
Yes,
yeah.
And they actually did that as well in a cauldron as well, full of, I don't know if it was water or whatever, but they threw them in, and then as it curled, thank you, Charmed. But as it kind of curled, it spelled out the name or the initial of your lover. But I did some research on that, and it wasn't just the ground. They I suppose whatever, like everyone adapted again, but. Yeah,
and it wasn't just apples and hazelnuts. It was all those things to do with the natural world and the harvest. I mean, some of them.
Well, it's all they had. It was all they had.
And this is where the apple bobbing came in. They also did some scrying, and I guess the scrying in itself is the apple peels being thrown over the shoulders as well. But they scried with egg yolks floating in a bowl of water, and so the apple, using the apples and the egg yolks floating in the water, and what they did was that they would try and see their futures by peering into the egg yolks floating in the bowl, and then stood in front of mirrors in darkened room holding candles and looking over their shoulders for their husbands' faces in the mirrors. So from that,
hello, Bloody Mary.
Yeah, and the exactly, yeah. From that, and the sort of whole thing with the apples, and it got competitive too. It wasn't just about, oh, whose initials am I throwing over my shoulder, but it was all about the first guest to find a particular secret omen, or the first guest to grab that bobbing apple. And that's what the prize was, is that they would be the first down the aisle.
Don't know if you can still hear me, but I've just lost you.
Oh, okay. Where did you lose me?
Like maybe 10 seconds. I just lost you. So what was the last thing you said?
That it was that you got the bit where they're using the eggs for scrying in a bowl of water and all that kind of stuff. And they were looking over, used to look back over their shoulders while the scrying was going to see if they, and that's where you did the Bloody Mary comment. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So the first one who to grab the apple, the bobbing apple, was allegedly the one that was the first one that was going to head down the aisle.
Ah.
Yeah.
I need to get some apples. I'm not an apple person. I don't mind apples, but I'm just not I'm not a fruit person, really. I don't eat a lot of fruit.
Yeah. I'm very particular with an apple. I only like pink ladies.
Yeah, I'm a red boy. Gee,
I'm a pink lady.
Yeah, no, I like a really prominent red apple. That's the only apple I'll eat. But yeah, watermelon's probably the only fruit that I really eat. But I'm quite. Now we're just talking about fruit. Well, I mean, no one's really watching, so we can really talk about anything at this point.
Yeah. There's Penny and Nat have joined. Hi, guys.
Hi, Penny. Nice to see you. Yeah, it's a quiet night tonight. I think everyone is out trick-or-treating, definitely.
No, that's tomorrow night, darling.
Oh, it's already started here, so I'm not surprised if... I'm just trying to make up excuses why no one's watching tonight. That's why.
I actually did a corporate function yesterday in a building in the city, and it was actually put on by the managers of the building. So they put a spot for me out in the foyer, and they had people booked in from all over the building, and they had the whole works. They had the pumpkins, they had the spiders, they had that nasty bloody cottony,
Cotton candy. Spiderweb.
Spiderweb stuff, and it's everywhere. It's still everywhere. But it was a really fun day, and people really got into it. It was great.
I feel like we'll stay on the modern theme for a little bit because we've got to kill half an hour here. So let's just stay modern for a little bit. What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, geez.
Interesting timing. The phone went off.
Dead people there again, and this happened last time. I've turned my phone to silent too, I might tell you.
I just love how I'm like, what's your favorite scary movie? And your phone rings.
Speaking of thinning of the veil, there it is. Oh, look, I don't particularly like a fright too much. What's yours? I'll have to think of one.
I love more thriller than horror. I'm not into the slashy stuff. Look, I love Scream. Like Scream's probably my go-to. And I'm looking forward to the new one coming out next year. No plug. But you never know who's watching. That's probably as far as a slasher type horror film goes, I'm really into the Scream. And I think Scream is really well done in its psychological side of it as well. The Sixth Sense, we're talking about old stuff.
Oh God, that's up there with my favorites. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and the others. Have you seen that with Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't.
I don't like her, but yeah.
But no, it's interesting that there are a lot of movies that have got that sort of connection there now.
Yes.
It's not just horror. I like those deeply psychological and spiritual ones. They're a bit
And
scary.
The Conjuring
Scary
series is my other
McClary.
favorite.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm a little bit too frightened to watch that.
It's worth it. Like, it definitely, I think, because it's so true. The first Conjuring wasn't that scary, but the second one I still can't rewatch.
Oh dear.
Still. Yeah, so
It's what do you think about black cats and the connection then? See, there's all these other lovely little, like my black cat
I
to speak of.
yeah, well, I have a black cat here.
Oh,
So
lovely.
I sort of go down the path of the cliche path of, like, witches have black cats as protection. So for
Yeah.
me, I don't see them as evil or anything bad. I think
Yep.
black cats are special. So I'm really drawn to, like, a black
Yeah,
cat.
me
Like,
too.
yeah, I'm not scared by it because they just get such a bad rep. But I actually think that out of because I'm not a cat person at all, but I'll only really go to pat or be like I acknowledge really more black cats than any other cats. Not to be racist, but it's basically like I don't know. There's just a different energy with the black cat.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
yeah.
because of my background and not just the work I do now, but also the fact that I used to be a practicing Wiccan. I think, like, it's just in me to be naturally drawn to black cats.
Mm. It's funny, isn't it? Because as far back as I guess they can find them in the modern world, the witch has always been connected to her familiar, her supernatural creature and that was all over Europe, that sort of belief. But I think it goes back further too, and that the connections between human and cats, and in particularly early civilizations like Egypt, where cats were divine symbols. So they also appear in Greek mythology, like Hecate was the goddess of magic, sorcery, the moon, and witchcraft. So
Right.
there's all of these things where the pets are not, the cats are a pet and a familiar, but in how they became evil was due to the church. And
Of course.
I think it was like Pope Gregory or something in a document called Vox in Rama. So, people in Rome, or the voice in Rome. And he declared that because they didn't agree with these pagan things, they declared that black cats were an incarnation of Satan. And particularly when they hung out with witches, they that was two things that the church didn't like, pretty much: witches and black cats. So they were lumped together in that way as pure evil by the church.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, I'm not sort of too surprised on that one either. I'm just reading some of the notes that I've done on, because I did like a spiritual rabbit hole of meanings and things to see what
Yeah,
different kind of things would come through. And it's funny, they all sort of really do link and talk about the same thing. So a lot of the spiritual themes on October 31 is they talk about a lot of transformation and renewal. So the fading light of the seasons represent a time to let go of what has passed and welcome in new beginnings, which talks
yeah.
about what you said about the new year being celebrated on November 1. And also it's talking about confronting fears. So it can be a time for a deep
Interesting.
introspection and confronting of fears, both personal and external, related to the unknown.
Mm.
Um,
Well, it's
which goes
interesting that
back
you
to,
speak of
yeah,
fear there, because the Christians really, partially fabricated the stories because of the connection with witches and cats. Because they thought they were the devil and they feared them. So they saw them as threats. As I was saying, cats, like women, were, accused of witchcraft, and, cats tended to have a healthy disrespect for authority. And they don't fawn like dogs, even to the unworthy. And independent women, like witches, with an independent animal, they weren't to be tolerated by the church. So there's a whole lot of bloody sexism in there as well.
uh, yeah, that. But also too, the common link there is church. You mentioned that word a few times. So I'm just wondering, and then obviously now they've kind of gone, well, being the church. No
Yeah.
disrespect to anyone that follows the church, or as you call the big man upstairs, or whatever it is that you say.
Yeah, your friend in
But
the
it's just
sky.
it's big friends in the sky. I love that. And look, no disrespect. Again, we're not here to judge
Exactly.
or
Everyone
whatever.
is entitled to their own thing.
100%. But yeah, it is sort of interesting, maybe is the word I want to use here, that, you know, November 1, straight away they have to go, okay, we're calling it All Saints Day. It's like so much fear and darkness and death and things like that on October 31, which isn't a negative. It's actually a real positive thing, but not looking at it in that way. So they had to kind of almost come in and go, okay, let's call, you know, not wasting any time. Next day, All Saints Day. Let's clear your sins and let's, you know, start fresh. And it's just, yeah, there's it's interesting is probably the word I'll say.
I just love the interconnection with the whole spiritual world. And this, until you said, you know, texted me last week and said, hey, you want to come on and do this? I hadn't, you know, on one of, if anyone is on here that doesn't know me, I have a real interest in the history of spirituality, particularly in Australia. And I hadn't realized or even thought about it because, you know, it's not a thing that I do.
Yeah.
I hadn't even realized the close connection with it all. So now, you know, when I write my book or whatever I do.
Has it sparked like an interest now for you? Like, are you looking at tomorrow as something different than what you normally would?
I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
Or just more appreciative, I suppose, of the history and the connection that tomorrow now brings. Removing the commercialism.
But because we deal with people, we also react to them. And I've actually had a client text me this afternoon and said, I'm desperate to speak to you tonight or tomorrow night. And I said, well, what's up? And like, what do you know about jinxes and, you know, and bad spells and things? So she obviously
what did you do?
She obviously
of all nights too.
Jinx somewhere. So yeah. It's one of those things that I guess I'll have to think about. And I've got another corporate gig on Saturday night with the you know the actual
All Saints Day. Yeah,
All Saints
is it with the
Day,
church?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I think Kelly had a question up there, or one of the ladies had a question just a little while ago.
Yes, I see that, Kelly. Kelly's got a few things that she said, but I'm going to go back to Eva first. She has said that. Savannah has 1,300 of all numbers. Eva, 13 haunted places that are used for tour guides for visitors that visit. Pumpkins all over for decoration houses. They're all decorated in downtown historical Savannah. Historical. Okay, so are you saying that maybe modern Savannah isn't decorated? Is that my interpretation of that?
Interesting.
If it's historical that's decorated. I'm wondering if, what you mean by...
Well, they were... some of the research that I saw actually said that the traditions of... or at the beginning, the roots of a lot of the whole Halloween thing were centered around the south of the US. So there were two particular areas. So that makes absolute sense, particularly with the older buildings, I guess, which have more... you know, a greater link or perceived link with any of the dead people hanging around.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kelly, interesting question. What do you think of demonic hunting, Terri?
Demonic haunting.
Demonic haunting.
Is that what you mean? Yep.
Haunting, yes. I need glasses.
You know,
is that haunting? Yes.
Haunting, yes, because I've got my glasses on, Mr. Vanity. Put your glasses on.
I should actually. Then the ring light will.
No, look, haunting is a strange word. I don't know if I actually believe in haunting. I believe that dead people hang around, but what are the connotations of haunting are so evil. You know?
There's also residual energy as well that people get confused about.
Yes, indeed. So I believe that there are. Oh, look, to me, Callie, particularly because I'm not a believer in your mate in the sky. I equally don't believe that he's got a mate that lives underground in the fire pit. So yes, I imagine that there are some souls who are demonic in a sense, but I don't have that heaven and hell thing going on with me. So it's an interesting question, and
Oh, that's really fascinating. So then you don't necessarily believe then when like in possessions and things like that?
No, not necessarily. Look, I do believe in possessions. I do believe that the dead people all jump in. I mean, you only have to watch Charmed, right? And you know all about that.
Or the ghost.
Or the ghosts, yeah. But I don't think that there is a pool of evil lurkers, waiting to
Okay,
jump out and
interesting.
attack us. And I don't believe there is no purgatory either, because I speak to many dead people who've passed by their own hand or recklessness, and I've even spoken to people some murderers. So, they're not sitting in a fire pit either. So this is what I mean. I don't believe in that sort of thing. I do believe that there are some evil spirits rather than demonic hauntings, if you know what I mean.
So how do you just because now I'm really fascinated. So how do you separate then? So when you say evil spirits, what do you mean by that? Like what's your definition?
I don't think there are demons. I know I once had something really bad attached to me, and I could see it, and it was like I was looking into my mouth, and it was a black cavern, and
Okay.
it was really quite scary. But that's the only sort of experience that I've had. But I don't think. Look, you would like to think that the truly evil serial killers and things like that would be evil and classified as, I suppose, demonic characters. But again, it's the whole connotation of the word demon, and that it's attached to the church, the same as angel. So there are bad
Right.
spirits, but I don't believe in the label of the demon.
Yeah. No, I totally understand on that. On
Mm.
that, because you don't believe in the sort of you don't do the whole angel thing either, do you? On the
Yeah, no,
reverse of that, yeah.
yeah,
No, I love that, and that's one of the things I love about you because it's not so much pushing the boundary, but it is kind of pushing in a sense that a lot of people do believe that because of maybe of a cliche or we're supposed not supposed to, but it's kind of like how can you work in this field and not believe in angels? It's like, and I
yeah,
love that you don't because it just makes it so real, and that's one
yeah.
of the really things I love that um, it's almost pushing and changing the narrative a little bit.
Yeah, it is. But and as people do, they tend to speak from their own experience. And my experience is that, that the spirits are around, but I don't pray to God and ask him to do anything for me. And I haven't had a life in which God has been present. And I had a pretty shitty life too when I was a kid. So, there was certainly no bloody God around. And I apologize to any God believers out there, but there wasn't a God around to help me when I was in need. So it's, I guess there is a little bias towards the church, but I just don't. It doesn't do it for me. It doesn't rock my boat. But I firmly believe that everyone has their own thing, as we keep saying. You find your own thing and you run with it. And if that's the church, a lot of people need they need to live in hope. And I suppose that's what their God is to them. I'm happy to be schooled by anyone out there who
Look, I would love, yeah.
that.
Before we wrap up, though, just going back on the spiritual side of tomorrow,
Yep.
and just I think in general anyway, but obviously tomorrow being the theme. So one of the things that I've sort of found is so obviously fear, trick or treating, it's Halloween, it's all about spooky time, your favorite scary movie, all that kind of cliche stuff. So but it goes back down to spirituality, and a lot of the things that they talk about is it's a great time to confront your fear tomorrow. So confronting the fears, confronting the unknown, both personal and external, but also embracing the mystery. So a reflection of life, death, and the unseen world, thinking of the veil, that kind of thing. So embracing that mystery, not being so much afraid for it, and connecting with the past is the third thing they talked about. So for modern pagans and Wiccans, it is a sacred time to connect with the past and the Earth's cycles. So it's, depending on your belief system and if those are out there, either way, tomorrow, whatever you're tapping into with obviously good intention, like be careful what you're tapping into. Like, don't be doing any spell casting tomorrow if you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
but it is, and that not just tomorrow. I think just in general, like if just
Yeah.
be careful. Know what you're doing.
The thing
But
with that,
tomorrow's,
that's the thing with everything that we do, Michael. It's you've got to. It's not good enough just to throw a card out and read a meaning in a book. You've got to get what it is behind all of that, how to interpret it, what it actually means spiritually, not just what it represents.
Exactly. And if you don't know, don't. It's like doing
Don't play with it.
What's our favorite? The Ouija board.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Don't get the
I'd love
Ouija
a
board
Ouija
out
board to
tomorrow.
work. I really would.
Just don't pull one out tomorrow.
No,
or any time,
it'll
really.
stay in the cupboard. I do have one, and my sister and I just sat there and looked at each other over the board, going, "Okay, well, is something going to happen here or not?" And if it couldn't happen between the two of us, who are both fairly well spiritually connected, well, I don't see how it's going to happen to anyone else.
Try tomorrow and see what happens.
No.
Look, I just.
Do you want some fun facts before we go?
Definitely, always.
Oh, sorry, where were you going? I interrupted.
Nowhere.
Again.
I was.
So
My
excited.
brain's going nowhere. There's nothing happening up here.
Okay, here's some kooky facts. That the first jack-o'-lanterns were made from turnips, as I told you before. And you know that the first movie Halloween, it was made in 1978. And it was on
the original. Yeah.
Yeah, the original. It was on such a tight budget that they had to use the cheapest mask they could find for Michael Myers. And do you know what the mask is? Do you know what his mask is?
It's a hockey mask, isn't it?
No. It's actually a mask of William Shatner from Star Trek's face.
Oh, what?
The hockey mask is some other guy. Yeah. He didn't know. Shatner didn't know about it, but it was like they had some masks of him that they made for some sort of costume in Star Trek.
Hang on, Michael Myers. Who's the hockey mask then? I thought Michael Myers was the hockey mask.
I don't know. I thought his was the mask from my
It's it's white, isn't it? Like a white mask.
Yeah, it's just painted white, but it is actually William Shatner's face modelled from his actual face.
No way.
Yeah, he didn't know about it. He didn't know about it, but he found out years later, and he said, "Well, I'm honoured." You know that.
Oh, he didn't even know. That's hilarious.
That everywhere else, and millions of people have seen his face.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, also, how about the owl? The owl is a popular Halloween image, and it was because in medieval Europe, owls were thought to be witches, and to hear an owl's call meant that someone was going to die.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's what I mean about all of the European and all of the sort of even Egyptian, all of these things get pulled together. And
so hang on, say it again. The owl, the call of the owl was meant someone was going to die.
Yeah. So
I wonder if there's any sort of if any of those have been brought into the modern day.
Well, they do use owls a lot in the symbology of Halloween.
See, I have not. No, see, I haven't seen that.
You see, you go into a scary. What are those? The haunted house at any amusement park. There'll be an owl in there, and an owl going, "Hoo hoo," you know. So
I suppose I see more bats, but I've never.
Oh yeah, owls are really out there.
I've never. Now that you've said that, I will. You watch. I'll notice. Yeah.
So there you go. Oh, I got some. Sawinophobia, that's fear of Halloween. So clearly none of us have got that. But, the word witch, you would know this, being an old Wiccan yourself, that actually meant wise woman. Yeah. So, you're a wise woman. But, and they were highly respected people at one stage. This is until, again, the church got involved and turned them into witches because they were respected, but the church was the one that was demanding the respect, not earning the respect. So, and witches also, one of their two main meetings or sabbats were one of them was actually on Halloween night. So,
interesting. Wow, there you go. So hopefully whoever decided to watch in the end got something out of tonight. I definitely did. I've just learned a whole bunch.
Yeah, me too.
I'm definitely going to process. I loved that. And however you celebrate Halloween, be safe, be present, and just enjoy You know, it's another holiday at the end of the, well, not even really a holiday, but you know what I mean. It's a celebration. However you want to
Yeah.
celebrate it, celebrate it. Remove the fear, and if you want to connect with loved ones, I suppose tomorrow night is the night, or is it midnight tonight, or no? It's midnight tonight, our time.
Halloween.
When's
No,
the
it's tomorrow
when's
night.
tomorrow's Halloween? But when's our thing of the veil? Is it midnight tonight or midnight tomorrow
No,
night?
tomorrow night. Yep.
As in midnight tonight when it hits midnight? Isn't that
No,
fitting of the veil? Because then it's coming into Halloween. Because
no.
then the other
It's the between the All Hallows Eve and the day, the next
and
day.
November 1.
1st of November, the end of the calendar year. So that's when the veil is.
Ah, okay. So it's
Mm.
tomorrow night, our
Yep.
time anyway. But keeping in mind though, it's different for American time. So if you're doing the thinning of the veil, I suppose it still works. It's still the right time zone for us, but yeah, it's not obviously. If you're trying to connect to the American version, it's obviously adjust your times because it's going to be a different time.
Yeah. It's not. It'd be the same time, but in different area.
Different areas, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's tomorrow night. See, I always thought it was tonight heading into Halloween, and then it's
No.
you celebrate, you do the whole celebration for the whole 24 hours.
Oh well, you can. I suppose you can nowadays, and it probably
Look, I thought today was All Hallows Eve until I learned that that's what they call Halloween. So
it's All Hallows Eve. Eve.
Yeah. Look, if it was up to me, I'll be celebrating Christmas every day. So what do I know? Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a real pleasure to have you as always, and you're the right person to definitely talk to tonight because I knew you would have all these facts. So I do appreciate that.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you very soon.
Yes, let's hope.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
And thank you. Let's cut her off. Sorry about that. So thank you to everyone that has jumped on. Thank you to everyone that's watched tonight or who's watching the replay. I do appreciate it. Of course, you can go to psycheTVinternational.com or psycheTVaustralia.com if you'd like a detailed reading. We have The Amazing Grace on pin 9888, Benjamin on 9166. Blessed Beth, who's been in the thread as always. Hi, Beth, 9150. Beth is available, so give her a call. Judith Sky on 9125. Mystical Owl available on pin 9151. And Natalie Norm Baker on 9810. We have a bunch of psychics currently available to take your call, so go and do that. I won't be back next week. I do apologize. I'm taking a bit of a break at the moment, so I will be back in the near future. Not sure if there'll be a show next week at this stage. There might be someone else hosting, but at this stage, I am taking a bit of a break tonight, or after tonight. So I'll be back in the near future, probably after Christmas at this stage. But of course, just stay tuned to our Facebook page to find out when that's going to be. Of course, you can catch Harry T this Saturday. So Harry is back on Saturday, back to regular viewing. So he'll be back this Saturday with a guest. I'll be back in the not too distant future. So thank you for your time, and thank you for everyone who's put in time and effort to Thursday's shows. It's been great to have your company, and I'll be back very soon. Until then, enjoy Halloween, be safe, and I will see you very soon.